Assalamu alaikum everyone, my name is Farah Halabi and I'm a professional Muslim life coach, and I'd like to ask you a question. What do you do when the people in your life don't behave in the way that you want them to? Now, whether that be your children, your family, your colleagues, your partner, siblings, friends, people who you choose or you would like in your life that you choose to spend time with, or who you would want to have around you. What do you do when they don't behave or treat you in the way that you would like? Now, I was speaking to an amazing client today who didn't like how her husband was behaving. And all she could see was the ways in which he wasn't being very nice. She felt that he didn't respect her, and the impression or the messaging that she was getting through his behaviour was, doesn't care, doesn't respect me, doesn't love me, doesn't want to spend time with me, doesn't bother at all. And the more that she was talking about it, the more and more examples were coming up that she could remember that substantiated that thought. And she could tell me all day long about how he behaved in a way that she didn't want him to behave in, that she didn't particularly like, that she wasn't impressed with at all, and how that behaviour made her feel. What she interpreted by his behaviour, by him spending time apart from her, by him using the words that he used, the tone, the body language, even when he wasn't saying anything at all, interpreting his stance, his body language, where he actually was, all directed to mean something about how he felt about her, how he didn't want to be around her. And all the while that she was talking, she was bringing up more and more examples of the behaviour that she didn't like. And when we were speaking, when I asked her what she did want, what she does when she sees or when she witnesses this behaviour, or when he's doing this, she kept on saying that I just want a loving husband. I just want a loving environment in my home. I just want that connection. I just want to relax, to feel comfortable, to feel that, you know, we're together, to have a peaceful, a calm, a loving, nurturing, compassionate, kind relationship with my husband. And the more that she was saying that, the more that she was bringing up all the times that wasn't the case in her life, that it wasn't, you know, there wasn't this loving, nurturing, kind, compassionate, jovial, friendly atmosphere. Because at that moment, every time she looked at her husband, even though he wasn't quote unquote doing anything, she saw him through the lens of unloving, unappreciative, not very nice, uncaring, and that's what she experienced. Now, when I asked her, what does she actually do about it? Like, what does she do when he's like that? And she said, oh, I don't say anything. I just, I try to ignore it. Sometimes I might say something back, but generally I just, you know, I don't know what I've done to deserve this kind of behaviour. I just want him to behave nicely to me, to be kind, to show me that he loves me. Now, whilst we were talking and while she was telling me, I asked her to tell me the times that he has been loving. And it took a few times to help to guide her along to actually telling me, because again, on her mind, it was just all of the times that he'd not been very nice. At that moment, that's how she saw her husband, through the lens of not very nice man, not very nice to her, not very loving, and all of those other things that I've said. And so when I asked her, in the whole time that they've been married, and they've been married for a fairly long time, in that time, has he exhibited kindness? And once we dug deeper, he had indeed. He'd said kind words. He'd treated her, or she felt that he treated her with respect. He had shown the capability of being compassionate, kind, loving, nurturing, jovial, fun, connected, all those lovely things. So it wasn't that he wasn't able to, but in her mind, he was choosing not to. That his behaviour was a willful choice towards her to keep back all of the niceties, all of the nice ways, because he was lovely to everyone else. Every time that she thought about how he treated her, she recalled how he was able to have a laugh and a joke with other people, how he was so friendly, so courteous, so polite to the neighbours, to his family, to her family even. How when he went to work and they worked together, how he was so respectful to his colleagues, so nice to everyone else. And the more that he was nice and kind and jovial and friendly to everyone else, was almost like a dagger through her heart. Of the nicer that he was to other people, it just reminded her how not nice he was to her. And this had been perpetuating for a very long time, to the point that she began to withdraw from him. The more that she saw him as unloving, the less the interactions that she had with him. And it became this cycle. So their situation, the way that she had felt about him, hadn't been for very long, really. She said it'd only been maybe a couple of months, if that. But she had felt herself changing. And all the while she was focused on, I just need him to do X, Y, and Z. I just need him to behave in a certain way. I just need him to say these words. I just need him to do this, this, and this. And all the while she was focusing on what she wanted him to do, what she needed him to do, it wasn't happening. Because it doesn't transfer what she wanted him to do in him doing it. If anything, she was responding to him or behaving towards him by not wanting to be around him. And when she was picking, but not in a way that was just out of nothing. Like, for example, he was watching something on the television and she came into the living room and she went, oh, so I guess we'll watch what you want then. Her behaviour towards him became defensive and responsive to the idea that he was not nice, not caring, didn't give monkeys, disrespectful. So she was responding, even when he was just sitting there doing nothing, she was responding to the idea that she'd built up about him. Now, I'm not saying that he was not in any way, shape or form, part of this equation. She didn't just one day wake up and think, oh, my husband, don't like that so-and-so. No, there were obviously things that had transpired. But the more that she focused on how she needed him to behave a certain way I asked her, where do you go when all you can focus on is his behaviour, needing it to be a certain way and it's not? What do you do with that? How does that help you move? Does it benefit you? Or does it keep you focused and stuck in that feeling of he is not a very nice person, doesn't love me, doesn't care for me? The more that you feel that and think that, the more that goes on in your mind, the more you'll see evidence of it. Does it change anything? And she said, well, no, not at all. So when I asked her what she does want, and she told me all of the ways in which she wanted things to be with her and her husband, I asked her if they had been like that before, and she went, absolutely. Yeah, I just want him to be nice. I just want him to go back to the way that he used to be. I just want to feel that he cares like he used to. Now, when she said that, something clicked for her, because in all of the time that she'd been feeling that her husband didn't care and didn't love her, all she could see was that. And then she became unloving. She started retracting. She started withdrawing her affection, the way that she usually, is around him. And when we looked at what she wanted and what she can affect, because we can't control what people think and feel or do. They're not robots to be programmed. It'd be great if they were, or would it? I don't know. But essentially, we can't go around, inputting, like taking off the little compartment off the back of their head and then programming it, and then off they go, set them off. Can't do that with our children, can't do that with anyone else. We can't control what people think, believe, behave, do, show up in life. What we do have an impact on what we can manage and what we are responsible for, because we're not responsible or accountable for other people's behaviours. We're accountable and responsible for ours. When we focus on what we can do, how we want to show up in the world, in our relationships, how we want to show how we feel, what we believe to be the best of us, or just how we want to, go forward in life. When we focused and when we brought her back to what she does have an effect on, because all the time she's just wishing that he would act in a certain way, that is wishful thinking, because there is nothing that you can't go from there. If you all you see is a behaviour that you don't like, and you're desperately wishing, you just wish he'd just not do that, or wish he'd be nicer, or I wish he'd do X, Y, Z. That is wishful thinking. But going to what you can do, how you can show up in life, and having the focus on yourself. If you want a loving relationship, be that person. Be that loving person. If you want a joyful, if you want a connected, if you want whatever it is that you want, be that for you. Promote that in yourself. Be who you want to be in those relationships. Show up in those relationships how you want, what aligns with your values, what aligns with your desires and morals and your responsibilities even. And go to work on consuming your mind with focus on how you, what you put out into the world. Now, I'm not condoning, when I say that you don't like someone's behaviour, I'm not talking about abuse, I'm not talking about any inappropriate abuse or any kind of behaviour that is abusive. I'm not talking about that. If someone's abusing you, either physically, verbally, or in any other way, I'm not saying, oh, well, you just show up as a nice person. No, I'm not saying that at all. But if there is a behaviour in someone, if there is a way in which they are showing up in that relationship and you don't like that, you get upset by that, you get hurt by that, the more you focus on it, the more that you will see of it, the more upset and hurt you are going to get. And that will keep you stuck in that upset behaviour until the only way that you see that person is through the lens of the behaviour that you don't like, the behaviour that makes you feel a certain way about them, or makes you think that they feel a certain way about you. If you change that lens and focus of how you see that person by you focusing on yourself, you being the person in that relationship that you want to be, how you want to show up, how you want to interact with that person, and not see that person as the sum total as that behaviour that you don't like. Recall when they have been or behaved in a way that you do like. And ask yourself, what did that behaviour tell you about you? What did that behaviour mean to you? And what does this new behaviour mean about you? Because when we make someone else's behaviour mean something about us, there's something a little bit, we're missing and what that person is going through. Just like with our children, if our children are exhibiting, any kind of challenging behaviour, either disrespectful or they're off track. I don't like the word naughty, but if their behaviour is not the norm, it's off track for them, and we take their behaviour to mean something personal about us, we've now stopped seeing what that child is going through. If your child, or if your children are exhibiting challenging behaviour, it's because they're feeling challenged. And in that moment, if you look past the behaviour to what is going on for them, you're going to see them very differently. But if you see them only through the lens of their behaviour, then that's all you're going to see. Just like it works with adults. If you see them through the lens of their behaviour, then that's all you are going to see. If you can see past it and not take it personally to mean something about you, you may just see something different. You will most certainly see something different about them. And then you've got a way that you can decide to go forward with that. Either getting inquisitive or as to what is going on for you. This is not usually you. There's something not quite right here. What's up? May elicit compassion. May elicit some kind of, conversation that's not about the behaviour. That's about asking them how they're doing. What's going on? And maybe just telling them, your behaviour makes me feel whatever it is that you're feeling. Gives them a chance to actually know what's going on for you. Then we're dealing in the known. We're not dealing with assumptions or opinions or if, buts and maybes. We're not dealing with, well, if you're, if you're sitting there watching what you want on the telly, you obviously don't give a monkey's about what I like or what I want. That's made up. Maybe they're just watching the footy. Maybe they're just watching EastEnders. Maybe they're not watching EastEnders against you or watching the football in attack of you. Maybe they're just watching the telly. But if you take someone else's behaviour to mean something personal about you, then you are going to feel all of those feels. And there's just going to be more and more doubt. There's no certainty there because we're just making it up. So, going back to my original question, what do you do? What can you do when someone is behaving in a way that you don't like? And not just anyone, someone who you like being around, who you want to be around, whether it be a family member, kids, colleague, husband, wife, whoever. But when you focus on that behaviour, that's all you'll see. If you focus on you instead, on how you show up, how you want to interact with that person, how you want to be around that person, and not in response to what they're doing now, but actually from an intention of how you want to be in that relationship, what would change for you? Because that gives you something that you can affect. All the while you're wishing that they wouldn't do this or they wouldn't do that, they wouldn't say that. It just keeps you stuck in wishing. Whereas this gives you a way forward of what you can impact. And like I said, we can't control the thoughts, feelings or behaviours of others, but what we do have a level of impact and management and responsibility is how we behave, what we think, what we feel, and how we show up in the world. Try it and let me know. If you can think of someone, or it might be someone's, no, it's not someone's. If you can think of a person or persons in your life that you want in your life, but they're not behaving in the way that you like or that you want or that makes you feel okay or happy about, what do you do? And what can you do? I'd love to know. If you don't feel that you can pop it in the comments, then please pop me a private message. There's lots of reasons why I'm asking, but if you would like to find your way through managing yourself or leading yourself and being the person in the relationships that you have in the way that you want, and you don't know really where to start, or you've not even thought about it, but thinking about it now, If you would like some help with that, some real help in understanding what is going on for you, because we go around not really know what's going on, but making a lot of assumptions about people, making a lot of assumptions about people's actions, making a lot of assumptions about what they're saying, what they're doing, and then we create this reasoning almost that, well, if you've done that, that must mean XYZ. And then we run with that. We run with that assumption. And that's all we can see. And then that almost becomes the law. That's like the rule. All of these horrible things that you've done, or not very nice things that you've done, or you're not a very nice person. You don't like me. You don't respect me. You're taking me for granted. And then that's all you will see. If you want a way of helping you navigate difficult relationships in a better way, then let's have a conversation. A real professional consultation to help you understand what is going on with you and how you can move forward and not stay stuck in that emotion. Stay stuck in that, what do I do now? I don't like it, but I can't do anything about it, or I wish I could. And it just gives you more and more if, buts and maybes. If you want a real way of gaining clarity in what you can do, what you are able to do, and how you can affect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us He will not change the condition of the people until we change that which is within ourselves. If you think about what's going on with the people around in your life, that's your condition. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care of it, but you've got to take care of what's inside you first. You've got to change that. And the bit that's within us is how we think, how we interpret, how we calculate, how we understand life, how we think, how we process things, what we believe with our thinking. That's the bit that we can change. Once we've done that, we'll take care of everything else. So when you're ready, let me know. You can email me at connect@farahhalaby.com, or you can private message me. And if you would like to know more about how you can create the life that you want, to live a life you love, or if this is the first time that you've heard this, I'm running a masterclass this week. Not this week, next week even. If you'd like the details of that, then again, you can email me at connect@farahhalaby.com or private message me. I shall be streaming it live from my private Facebook group, and I shall pop the link in the comments below. I've been talking an awful lot of time now, so if you've stayed till the end, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khairan, I pray that it has been beneficial, and like I say, always, I pray that you are safe, well, happy and healthy, and inshallah I shall be on again for another little convo. But for now, take care. Assalamu alaikum.